17 Jack Boyle, 18 Mark Donnelly, 19 Mark Morrissey, 20 Ruth Brothers, 21 Colin McKee, 22 Ben Carson, 23 Jude Postlethwaite, 24 Jack Hannah, 25 Daniel Kenny, and 26 Jay Mullins. There we are tonight's team for the final match, as England and Ireland face off in round 3 of the 26 Nations.
And a very warm welcome to a sun-drenched Cardiff Arms Park as we continue round 3 of the delayed Under-20s Six Nations. The final game of today's triple header, a potential championship decider between Ireland and England, both unbeaten so far. And if you've been with us all day, you'll have witnessed 2 very impressive victories so far for Italy and France. Italy really putting Scotland to the sword in the opening fixture, and a late comeback from Wales put a bit of respectability on the scoreline, but France very worthy winners in game 2. And this is a top of the table clash. Ireland currently top by virtue of a superior points difference. England in second place, hot on their heels. Both teams unbeaten, both teams desperate for victory. France leapfrogging Wales up into third place after their victory an hour or so ago. So the stage is set. It's been a fantastic day weather-wise in Cardiff all day, and the sun is shining brightly on the artificial surface here at Cardiff Arms Park as England enter the arena. Captained once again by Jack Van Poortvliet, an ever-present in this side over the last few weeks, and an increasingly influential figure for England as they go in search for a 3rd consecutive victory in this campaign. There is the captain, learning his trade at Leicester Tigers, and there's some pretty experienced scrum halves in Ben Youngs and Richard Wigglesworth. And here come Ireland, championship winners in 2019. And they made their way to a triple crown before last year's tournament was prematurely brought to an end. They have now won 10 consecutive games in the Under-20s Six Nations, an enviable record for the men in green. And as you can see up in the stands, a bit of Irish support. 120 tickets have been made available for today's game, for friends and family only. So there are a few people making a noise in the stands, but we will be quiet for the next minute or so and take a minute's silence to express our solidarity for rugby against racism.
Rugby is united against racism. We would like to mark our stand against discrimination with a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Okay, now please join us in the standing for the anthem of the teams. First up, England.
So Richie Murphy has kept his tweaks to a minimum today as Ireland go in search of Triple Crown glory. Just 2 changes to the starting 15 that helped beat Wales, and those are both in the front row, with Temi Lasisi and Sam Illo returning to help lock the scrum. Captain Alex Kendallen remains the rock at the heart of the back row. And it's same again for the back line, and how Richie Murphy would love a repeat performance from his scrum half Nathan Doak, who accumulated 20 points in a man of the match display last week. England head coach Alan Dickens isn't afraid to experiment with a winning team. 4 changes from the side that beat Scotland, with Charlie Atkinson, Tom Litchfield, Arthur Clarke and Nahum Merrigan all making their first starts of the campaign. There are 2 positional changes in the pack. Ewan Richards moves from second row to blindside flanker, and big Jack Clement swaps from number 8 to open side. The ever-present Jack van Poortvliet continues to captain the side from scrum half. So in a game between 2 unbeaten sides, it could come down to the benches. 11 subs on each, of which they can use 8. Che Mullins, who's part of the Bristol Bears setup, could make his Irish debut today. Big Alex Groves there, the Bristol Bear, 6'8", South African born, but very much an Englishman now. Big presence in that English pack of big heavy men, and the Irish will need to counter that today with some power of their own. As Finn Smith prepares to kick off, Adam Jones of the WRU in charge of this one. Glorious conditions at Cardiff Arms Park. The sun continues to beat down, and the breeze has died down as well as Finn Smith sends that one skyward. It's well fielded, but that's an immediate penalty. Tackled a man in the air. Cathal Ford was the victim, and Ireland an immediate opportunity to clear their lines. And an opportunity for me to introduce my co-commentator, the former Ireland second row, Mr. Mike McCarthy. Up for this one, Mike?
Hi Ross, yeah, mouth-watering encounter on the cards today with a Triple Crown there to be taken by Ireland, and that's a great start for them. Great take by Cathal Ford, and just the start they wanted. They've got field position, they've got their first line out, and that's something England really have to work on. Their coaches spoke about it earlier in the press, that discipline's a big area that they've had to work on coming into this game.
Yep, a massive amount of penalties, 20 plus given away last week against Scotland, so they'll need to clean up their act in that department. And Tom Litchfield just a bit over-eager in his first start of the campaign, taken out forward in the air. So good clean ball from Ireland's first line-up, but that met with some resistance in that England midfield. Doak just digging and looking for one of his big men to carry forward round the corner. On that occasion it's Harry Sheridan, but it's another bit of ill discipline from England, a high tackle this time, which will give Ireland a penalty inside the England half.
White around the neck, high tackle.
And Ewan Richards was the guilty party, playing on the blindside flank as opposed to in the second row today. And Nathan Doak, who accumulated 20 points in a player of the match performance last week against Wales, takes one look at those posts and says, I'll go for it.
Yeah, some big physical collisions out there early doors, only 2 minutes in, and you can hear the collisions up here. Phil Branching in there with a big hit, all his teammates getting in there, getting involved, but you know, it's a perfect start for Ireland. 2 penalties, a great start for them, and it's, you know, it's about getting on the right side of the referee early, painting a good picture to the referee that you're the side that's sticking to the rules.
Absolutely, and as mentioned, England already picking up a bit of an unwanted reputation for ill discipline. Nathan Doak, a very accomplished place kicker. This one is nigh on 50 metres, but barely a hint of a breeze as he sends that one surging towards the posts, but it's just wide, and England will have a 22-metre dropout.
I think it's hard to get that balance between being squeaky clean and getting your discipline right, but bringing the right amount of physicality as well. England obviously hurting from that game back in 2020 where Ireland scored six tries away at Franklin's Gardens against England, so I'm sure that was spoken about in the lead up to this game, but they've just got to find that balance between bringing that physicality and having good discipline.
It is There's always a fine line, and there's Cathal Ford, this time taking that one unopposed and making a few metres beyond the gain line.
Tackle!
So Doug, good swift delivery from the base, and now Ireland spread it wide. Shane Jennings, well held up in the tackle. Some big hits going in from the England midfield at the moment, but Ireland retained possession. Temila Ceci, one of the new props in the starting lineup. And another blast on the whistle. It's an England knock-on, so Ireland will have the first scrum of this third match of round 3 in the Under-20 Six Nations, and a good chance to assess who's got the advantage in this department, Mike.
Yeah, big chance, first scrum of the game. Referee's going to be looking at this very closely. Both teams want to paint that picture, being physically dominant and physically on top, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But you can really see England going really hard at the breakdown. Clearly we know Ireland play a really nice brand of attacking rugby using the full width of the pitch, and they're just really trying to slow the ball down at source. You know, they don't want to give Ireland quick ball because they're so dangerous when they're playing off that fast ball.
So slightly concerning signs early on here. Alex Soroka, a really influential figure in the Ireland second row, can play in the back row as well. He's just down getting a little bit of treatment, and Ireland already having left a few of their first choice second rows behind, can ill afford to lose someone of his stature and influence. Looks like he's just getting his ankles strapped up there and doesn't look in too much pain, Mike.
Yeah, and they're missing some big units, this Ireland team in the second row. They came into the competition missing Joe McCarthy and Darren Murray, but you know, the guys who've come in and stepped up for these first 2 games have done incredibly well, and they certainly hope they won't lose Alex Soroka here. His work around the park, both sides, attack and defence, he's got an absolute engine on him, and he's been absolutely fantastic, so they'll certainly want to keep that man on the pitch.
Absolutely, one of several Leinstermen in this pack. A Dublin-born Alex Soroka scored a try, of course, in round 1 against Scotland and celebrated that try pretty heartily. He's a passionate man, and he's back on his feet, which is great news for all Irish supporters.
He made his Guinness Pro 14 debut in February, so you know he's got that first team experience as well.
Wait for the calls. Wait for the calls.
So an all-Leinster front row for the Irish. 2 new props, both of whom were featured off the bench last week, but first starts for both Samuel O and Temila Ceci. And in the England front row, it's Brantingham, Sam Riley and Harvey Kindle-Beaton. Sam Riley, of course, winning player of the match against Scotland last week with a hugely influential display.
Set. Keep working.
Pretty stable one to begin with. Neither team giving an inch as Nathan Doak spins the ball wide, and it goes out left, and this is an incursion into the line from Jamie Osborne. But for a good bit of England defence, Ireland look threatening out there on the wide left-hand side. As Mike said, they like to spread the ball early, and Jamie Osborne does like to come into the line to create the extra man.
Yeah, some great lines back against the grain, holding the defenders there, but that last pass just not going to hand. A little bit of a nervy start, but you know, good sign for Ireland there in the scrum. You know, England, big, heavy, physical pack, and you know, Ireland will be pleased to see that they held their own there in the scrum. Lovely flat body positions, flat backs, all scrummaging together.
So a scruffy line-up ball for England, but it does eventually come back on their side. But Ireland piling bodies into that breakdown, putting pressure on England, slowing down the release of that ball.
On.
In game 1, we saw Italy's exit so expertly and precisely done. Let's see what England can do now. Van Poortvliet. That's a great clearance kick into the Irish half. It's well fielded by Cosgrave initially, but plenty of white shirts bearing down on him. That ball is sufficiently slowed down, so Ireland will have to
give me a space.
Go route 1 initially off that ruck. And Doak sticks up a box kick of his own. And it bounces into no man's land, and whoever can latch onto this could be in. Chris Cosgrave proving the most alert. And a lesson to England there, don't let that ball bounce, Mike.
Yeah, 100%, and again a bit of a nervy start, but you know, Charlie Atkinson's, he's got to take that, he's got to demand that, he's just got to own it. You know, you see that's all the best fullbacks in the world do. They absolutely demand that high ball. They absolutely roar for it and make it theirs.
Plays more of a fly half for Wasps in the English Premiership. 15 starts actually or 15 appearances for Wasps. But fullback today, as he was when he came on last week. No one's dislodging Finn Smith from that 10 shirt for England at the moment. So ball's available at the back there. Van Poortvliet being told to use it. You don't want to waste too much more time. And it's the box kick again. Jamie Osborne underneath that one, well taken in the air despite the attentions of a few England chasers. And Ireland just flooding that midfield. Decent clear out, but Arthur Clark risking offside there to come round and dislodge the ball. It's a penalty to England to turn the ball over just inside their half. And it's pretty cagey so far, Matt.
Yeah, and it's Phil Brantingham again. He's had a great start. He put a big hit in the first couple of minutes, and there he's got the poach. He's got the turnover at the breakdown. Initially really well cleared out by Ireland, but they were so physical in the clear out. They drove past the ball and left the ball there where the scrum half was. But a lovely take there by Jamie Osborne, taking that high ball under pressure as well.
Yeah, he is very good in the air, is Jamie Osborne. Another one with first team experience for Leinster. His debut against the Scarlets. He's made 6 first team appearances, and Leinster more than anyone like to give youngsters their head.
Stop!
And a bit of a skewed kick, but it bounces infield. And there will be an Ireland line out just on their 10-metre line. Charlie Atkinson shaking his head. He's not too happy with the execution of that kick, but the outcome isn't too bad.
I'll get him for you, okay?
Worked out pretty well in the end. But real character in this England side as well. That first round game where they were losing quite heavily at half time against France, and they pulled it back to win with a bonus point.
Well, they appeared dead and buried against France. 19-3 down at half time, and it was all England in the second half. All England last week against Scotland. And as we mentioned, 2 unbeaten sides, one of whom
no hands now.
are going to lose that status this evening
Onside.
here in Cardiff.
Good. Push for me, push. Use it!
So there it is for Van Poortvliet once again. He opts for the box kick, safety first for both teams. Neither team willing to take much of a risk in these opening exchanges. But that one's bounced back to Van Poortvliet.
Hold 1, hold 3.
Kicks it this time directly into the arms of Jamie Osborne. There's a bit of time to assess his options. Charlie Atkinson is well positioned to deal with this one. Thinks about a counter-attack, thinks better of it. Shane Jennings, just juggled, Nathan Doak rather, just juggles that one before returning it with a bit of interest, chasing his own kick. Atkinson and Van Poortvliet is up for it, tackled by his opposite number, Doak. And there's the big South African, Alex Groves.
Use it!
So very much a kicking duel so far. Neither side willing to take a risk early. And that one is going straight into touch. First unforced error of this match. And Ireland will have an attacking line out just inside the 10-metre line.
Yeah, and Ireland winning the kicking battle there, but I think it's testament.
A little bit quicker. Okay, we don't need to huddle every line out. Come on.
I think it's testament to the 2 defences. Both teams are trying to play. They're both trying to attack, but both teams have got such good lines in defence. They're getting off hard off the line and making those chop tackles, killing any momentum, and it's very hard to attack.
Yes. Initially a good clean take from Ireland, but a bit of obstruction, pulled down in the line out.
Okay, thank
Some
you.
afters as well between Ireland and England.
We don't need it. We don't need it. Come on. Take your players.
Adam Jones quick to assert his authority, but unsurprising perhaps a bit of niggle between 2 sides yet to suffer defeat in this competition, both of whom desperate to cling on to that unbeaten record. But Ireland with another penalty.
Yeah, I think as Arthur Clark got pinged there, trying his hand at a few dark arts, trying to get away with it, slightly pulling the lifter's arm as he lifts, just to disrupt the line out. Doesn't get away with it, hard to get away with anything now, but you know, that discipline again, isn't it?
White, step for me, please. Whole pack.
Absolutely. Alan Dickens addressed that pre-match and said that it had been a big talking point this week, but so far. The penalty count is going against England. And that one sails through the arms of the intended target and into the arms of Sam Riley.
From Green and then by White.
So 2 knock-ons, first from Ireland, which means England will get the put into this scrum.
First knock-on in the line out from the top man.
Yeah, Ireland will be disappointed with that. Their set piece has been incredible the first 2 games. I think they've won 22 out of 25 lineouts in rounds 1 and 2. So, you know, certainly a disappointing position to lose.
Standards we set now, we maintain them.
Lose your own throw-in.
And as we saw in the Scotland-Italy game earlier, if you don't have a line-out, you don't have a platform, you haven't got a chance of winning, and Scotland's line-out malfunctioned disastrously in game 1 of this triple header. Ireland will want to tidy up any deficiencies as early as possible.
Bind. Set. Stay 9, don't push him.
Another steady, stable scrum. And this time it's Merrigan who picks up off the back. So usually the role of Jack Clement, who switched to 7 today, but another big man in Merrigan, and another penalty, this time for England. It's a no-arms tackle against Alex Soroka.
Number 4 Green. No attempt to wrap number 4 Green, tuck the shoulder in.
He's low enough, but just didn't wrap the arm, reminiscent of Dan Lydiate back in his heyday. And that one hasn't found touch, so Nathan Doak acrobatically leaps to claim it. And inside to Jamie Osborne, already showing what a menace he can be with ball in hand in these opening exchanges. And there is Cathal Ford, try scorer in this tournament already, of course, hard running, direct, inside centre. Fumble by Ireland, but it's gone backwards. Tim Corkery tidies up the loose ball. Just that pot of 3 forwards, just waiting. Charge into the teeth of this England defence.
Use it!
And rangy Nathan Doak. Another box kick. Kicking duel continues here at Cardiff Arms Park. And another loud blast.
This player here,
and the
number
referee's
11.
Whistle, not moving away. So
away.
England will get another chance to relieve the pressure.
Yeah, the penalty count starting to sway back against Ireland now, but a great take by Charlie Atkinson. He didn't command the first one, but he absolutely dominated that one. Big, loud, early call, up in the air, and a perfect take.
Well, we mentioned off air, Mike, that a lot of these Irish three-quarters are big, tall, rangy lads, so if it does turn into an aerial battle, they'll have an advantage, you'd think, over some of their England counterparts.
Yeah, this Irish backline, they're all about 6'3", 6'4", so they're tall, they're rangy, but also very mobile as well.
So that was a bit of a messy lineup, but England have gobbled it up and just got them all moving. Brought to ground now, so we'll have to release it. And Sam Riley with a powerful handoff of Corkery in the midfield, and a bit of a gap left for Van Portfleet. And the offload was decent enough, but not forward by Kindle Beaton.
Number 10 Green.
Matters not, because the referee was playing advantage. Neil Corkery not retreating to an onside position. And the first penalty chance within kicking range, and Finn Smith has been on decent kicking form so far this tournament, and with barely a breeze to speak of. You'd think he'd go for the posts, Mike, but a bit of early ambition for England here.
Yeah, they back their set piece, they back their maul. They've got a very, very strong maul. I think they scored 2 tries early on against Scotland last week, where they both came. They started with a maul where they got some go forward and got some momentum. So it's
the numbers early, so can we make sure we do the same?
It's certainly a real weapon for England, and Ireland are going to have to be very cute as how they defend this, because they don't want to get into a pushing match against England. They're bigger, they're heavier. Once that maul starts going forward, it's very difficult to stop.
More weight.
We saw Sam Riley come on off the bench in that game against France and score 2 tries. Nice hooker, one of them off the back of that rolling maul, and England have got this maul moving. Although Ireland have done well initially, but illegally to bring that to floor. So now England go for the kick pass. Finn Smith out to Arthur Relton. And that's intercepted timely by Jamie Osborne. Arthur Relton, of course, scored from a crossfield kick against Scotland. So that combination between Smith and him does work well. It was a shot to nothing on that occasion. England knowing if it came to nothing, they could come back for this penalty.
2 penalties against you here. We've got number 3 collapse at the maul, and we've got number 10 who's offside again for the 2nd time. We need a word now, okay, while time is off. to improve the discipline, okay?
Yeah.
And have a word with number 10 as well, because that's twice in 2 plays now. He's offside, okay?
From the line?
No, from the breakdown.
Okay, yeah. No, that's okay.
So you may have heard Adam Jones say Tim Corkery, the Irish fly half, has
Captain.
been pinged for offside twice in the space of a
Captain.
minute.
You've got...
And he also blamed
Who's
the
captain?
tight head prop Sam Ello for
You've got the option. You've
illegally
got
collapsing
one
that
on
maul.
The,
So,
5
as
metres
Mike mentioned,
out
it
where
was
they
England
are,
giving
whereas
away
we've
those
got an
early
offside
penalties,
in
but
midfield.
right now the penalty
Okay,
count
you've got time still up.
is 5-3. Ireland losing their discipline in the last few moments as well, so they'll have to be careful. What they do not
Just gonna
want
be
is a
right
man
here
in the
at the
bin
time.
when England are in the ascendancy
That
like this.
Messages across. Thank you. It was number 2 collapse, okay? Number 2.
Yeah, the best way to stop them all is first and foremost your discipline. Don't give penalties away. Don't give field position away. When I was playing against a big, heavy, physical French side who are good at mauling, you know, it's always said
we're
during the
just
week,
waiting for injury.
don't give penalties away for starters, because
Okay, just
that
back
gives
in,
them field
please, Captain.
position, and then they just back their biggest weapon, which is their
Time
maul.
back on. Number 2 collapse.
So Alex Soroka getting a bit more strapping on that ankle that's given him a bit of trouble so far, so he's continuing as it is. And again, worrying times for the Irish, because they'll need to keep him in this lineup when, as Mike mentioned, England have got 2 giants in their second row. There's one of them, Alex Groves, and they get that ball moving. It is inching towards the line. It's virtually over the line, and that's the first try of the game. It comes to England. Mike had just mentioned how lethal their rolling maul can be, and within seconds they powered over the try line. 5-0 to England.
Yeah, big play by England there, throwing to the front of the line out. You know, usually that's the easiest part to defend when teams throw to the front, because you put all that weight and push it towards the touchline. But, you know, they stay compact, they stay square, they stay straight, fighting at the front, and manage to squeeze over. And that's a worrying sign for Ireland. But it all stems from discipline. Great take there from Alex Groves.
Yeah, soared high up in the lineup did Alex Groves. Claimed that ball, and Ewan Richards tight into the maul.
You know, and once it gets going, it is virtually impossible to stop. You know, you can't, looking at Ireland there, you can't say their body positions are too high. It's just they've got into a wrestling match, and there's more weight in that English pack to push them forward. So Ireland have to come up with a plan to stop this maul at source, whether that's trying to sack the jumper as his feet hit the ground, or to even compete in the air and try and get up in front of them and steal it.
So Finn Smith to add the extras. And that one is straight and true. 6 out of 6 he had in the opening round against France before his radar deserted him in the second half of the Scotland game. But he's back on form with that one, adding the extras, taking the score to Ireland 0, England 7.
Advantage White, knock on. Onside. Advantage over the knock on.
So Brantingham, who's had a lively start so far, and he gets away from the first tackler before spilling the ball. So Ireland now in possession. Jennings playing scrum half in the absence of Doak.
Used it.
Again, Adam Jones not showing much patience with the scrum halves today. As soon as that ball is available on a platter for them, he's imploring them to use it. Jennings the chaser on this occasion, but Relton takes that one cleanly in the air. Just spins out of a few tackles before he's eventually brought down. And there is Ewan Richards. Big physical presence in that England back row.
Onside.
Mike mentioned some really big, heavy bruises in that England pack. And Jamie Osborne was underneath that one, but it drifted away from him in the air, so Doak has to clear up. Very composed player is Nathan Doak. Shaped the kick, but saw a little gap and ran back into contact.
Everyone in front, stop!
And now Corkery with a long ball, bouncing ball downfield, and just being careful not to be caught offside as they chase that one. Bit of Gaelic football skills there. But Finn Smith pounces.
Onside.
Possession is England's. Relton playing scrum half. And that was a good line there from Kindle beaten. And England now just starting to put a few phases together, looking a bit more sharp. And Ireland, fortuitously, the ball knocks on and a little fly hack through, and the pressure is relieved.
Yes, some really nice build-up play there from England. You know, running hard, direct, back against the grain, getting over the gain line, winning those inches, winning that momentum, and they were starting to look very dangerous. The space was starting to appear out wide.
Wait for my arm again.
So it goes to Alex Groves again. Not quite cleanly taken there, but it's come back on the England side.
Use it!
Hopefully, as he does so often and so well, just puts up a well-timed box kick into the hands of the Irish left winger, Chris Cosgrave. Really pacey left winger. Both the Irish wingers have pace to burn. Stanaki goes into the face of Adam Jones.
Scrum, white ball.
Chuckle and an apology from Adam Jones as he takes a ball to the face. Yeah. But it was an Irish knock on that preceded it.
Me, so it's a scrum, white
England will get the put in. Lucky to get away without a bloodied nose is Adam Jones. Looks like Chris Cosgrave is getting a little bit of attention over on the far side. Looks to have an issue with his right elbow.
Time back on then, lads.
And time back on. So a quarter of the game gone. It's been nip and tuck. As Mike has mentioned already, both defences pretty watertight so far.
Yeah, same. Hard to give the marks. So
Looking slightly more fluent to the sides with ball in hand, but unforced errors bringing most attacks to an end. Other than that driving maul, that ominous-looking driving maul that resulted in the try for the Bath number 8, Nahu Merrigan.
Yeah, they've got some big dynamic ball carriers in that back row, haven't they?
Bind.
They certainly have.
Set.
Van Portfleet just hanging off that scrum to take the pass. And there's Bates, big powerful runner.
Use it.
And Brantingham once again making his presence felt.
Lost now, Green.
Not shy to carry the ball. A big loose head prop.
Use it.
And Van Portfleet, you always know when he's going to box kick. His body language tells you. Jamie Osborne being kept very busy by some of these hanging box kicks, these up and unders.
Away, White.
Didn't manage to secure that one, but Ireland do have possession. A bit of confusion there. I'm not sure Harry Sheridan was expecting that ball. Tries to get it to ground and set up this ruck so Ireland can look up and clear their lines. Corkery just threads it between the two England back three players. Again, it's a bit of a fudged kick from England to return, and Doak will have a bit of time now to assess his options. He runs straight into the shoulder of Charlie Atkinson, and that England defence is well organised, and that is well met. Don Burn
use it.
Knocked backwards, and he'll feel that one in his ribs for some time to come, you'd think. No, I think Cosgrave taking man and ball.
Tackle for me, Reece. Just in the tackle for me. Yeah,
was it knocked on in the tackle? Adam Jones thinks not.
Tackle away, White. Let it go,
he
White.
is playing advantage. So England accidentally knocked on. We saw Christian Townsend do the same thing for Scotland earlier. And now then, there's a bit of a gap on the left-hand side. Cuts back inside to Jamie Osborne. And Pethel Ford juggles the ball. He does manage to keep it under control. So Ireland now inside the England 22. If they can recycle quickly, England could be in trouble here. Alex Kendall and the captain staying on his feet, pumping those legs, driving ever further towards the line. A penalty, England. They've turned that ball over. And is Ewan Richards. Perfect clamp position. Getting over the ball, winning a critical turnover because Ireland were flooding towards the England line.
Yeah, a glimpse there of how dangerous this Irish team can be. Lovely cut-out pass there to the space on the width. And a lovely line break. Great carry from Alex Kendall, showing those yards after contact. Here we go. Executes it to the space, a lovely pass. Ball back inside. And so that's a lovely offload. The thing for Ireland is having to commit so many players to the breakdown to keep the ball, because England are competing so hard at the breakdown.
Yeah, powerful surge from Kendall and the Munsterman. Another who's made his debut this season for Munster in the Pro 14.
And with CJ Stander finishing up, there's a real opportunity for him to put his hand up, which he's done in the first 2-3 rounds.
Absolutely. So that ball has trickled back into an England hand, and Jack Bates looks up and fancies a go. Finn Smith. Classy operator is Finn Smith. And that's Dan Lancaster, son of Stuart Lancaster, of course, who we saw in the crowd here last week, watching on with interest. His son also studying sports coaching at university, Leeds Beckett University, so looking to follow in his father's footsteps as a player and perhaps a coach. And there's Jack Clement of Gloucester, normally with number 8 on his back. It's just as powerful an open side flanker.
No advantage, number 11, offside.
So it's number 11 offside. I thought Soroka was going to pinch the ball at that breakdown, but it's another penalty for England, and given what happened last time they were in this position, Mike, you would expect Finn Smith to knock this one as far as he can into that right-hand corner.
Yeah, certainly worrying times for Ireland. We saw how powerful that English maul is, and it's coming again. Another wave of attack.
Captain, 8.
But England really starting to win those collisions now as the game's going on, and it can be energy sapping for Ireland, who are having to do a lot of defending.
So Ireland will have to do something differently to what they did last time, because England got that maul moving pretty quickly after clean taken line-out ball. And Sam Riley will look to find possibly Groves again in the middle of this line-out. Yep, Groves is the target once more. And the maul is set up. So Ireland will be desperate to stop this at source. But England have it moving forward. Sam Riley, the hooker, has the ball at the back. And he's brought to ground now. And that is scrum down to Ireland. So a small moral victory in this battle within a battle.
Thank you. Number 7, Green, is through the middle and onto the ball. Unplayable.
And that's great work from Oshie McCormack, showing real dog and fight, getting through the middle there, completely legal. And Dennis Leamy, the forwards coach, former Munster legend, he'll be delighted with that, because he was real dog himself when he played, and that's real dogged work, getting in there, getting in that nasty position. A lot of people don't want to put their head in, and coming back with the ball. Big one for the team, that.
That is the way to do it. When that maul gets compact and tightly packed, it's so hard to swim through the middle like that. So McCormack doing so early, bringing it to the floor, and Ireland still in a vulnerable position here, but they have the put in. And they'll be looking to get this ball out as quickly and cleanly as possible. Picked up by their captain Alex Kendall, and that's another surging drive, almost right up to the 22 from Ireland, helping relieve the pressure. And they will be delighted if they can clear this. So, not found touch territorially. It's back deep in the England half. Atkinson an opportunity to run back at this Irish defence, and he skitters around a few tackles before being eventually brought to ground. And it will be
15 right.
Scrum down to Ireland. Charlie Atkinson losing control of the ball as he was tackled. And in the blink of an eye, Mike, they've gone from a defensive scrum on their 5-metre line to an attacking one in England's half.
Yeah, exactly. We spoke about Oshie McCormack's turnover, and it was backed up with a big positive carry by Alex Kendall, and the captain. He just leads by example week in, week out. First 2 games, led by example. First game, player of the match. And the coaches spoke about it in the week. He leads by his actions. Everyone wants to follow him. A big carry like that, everyone wants to jump on board and follow. And then a great kick chase, and they've got good field position now.
So early substitution here in the Irish midfield. Shane Jennings has gone off for a head injury assessment.
Turn back on then.
And is replaced temporarily at least by Jude Postlethwaite of Ulster. Someone who cites Israel Folau as his favourite player of all time.
Yeah. Picture so far positive. So
Similar sort of physique to Folau, very rangy, tall. Of course, learning his trade from the likes of Jacob Stockdale, James Hume, Stuart McCloskey at Ulster. Some experienced guys to have around him. So Ireland will be hoping Shane Jennings can return, because he's been an influential figure. Formed quite the midfield partnership with his housemate, Cathal Ford. The two of them both Connacht boys.
Bind. Set.
So here we go. The scrums have been
Keep working up, you two.
pretty steady so far. No quarter given by either side, and Kendall picks up to Doak. And inside from Cathal Ford, but he's met with a huge tackle from Jack Clement. Rocked right back. And Ireland look to regain momentum. That's big Sam Illo with a carry, but again England are equal to it. And their defensive line is coming up sharp and fast on Ireland. Ireland struggling to find a dent at the moment. Kendall and the man to be tackled that time. And they're going backwards inside their own half now. Illo once again offering himself and just about manages to get away from the attentions of Sam Riley. And Doak sticks this one into Charlie Atkinson's hands. Atkinson, plenty of time, plenty of space to call them
back on
out.
the AR.
And that English defensive wall proving pretty difficult to breach so far.
Yeah, more big collisions there. Jack Clement that time with a big hit, and I think Ireland's just lost their shape slightly because they were sending one-out runners around the corner, and you know, one-out runners come around the corner is very easy to defend. It's obvious who's getting the ball, so ideally you like to have the ball carrier with another option inside and outside. Everyone looking like they're an option.
Sorry.
There we go, big hit, drives him back, so he doesn't take him over the horizontal, but that's a big physical collision-winning tackle.
Textbook stuff from Jack Clement. Brought him safely to ground. No issue there. Sirocco to win the ball, but it was deemed not straight by Adam Jones, so possession surrendered by Ireland. They've yet to build anything meaningful inside this England half. They've had a few opportunities, but England just feel in control of this game at the moment.
Yeah, disappointing for Ireland. You know, look how hard they've had to work to get back up here. The turnover at the maul, the kick chase with the turnover, possession back to England.
Yeah, that's good.
And England been squeaky clean since that opening 10 minutes, where they gave away 3 successive penalties. They've not given away a single one since, whereas Ireland have now conceded 7.
Yeah, I'll just get it steady, okay? Crouch. Bind.
And teams aim to give away 8 or less penalties in a game. You know, at test match level, that's what most teams aim for. You know, if you're giving away more than 8 penalties in a test match, it's very difficult to win the game.
So Jude Postlethwaite with his first contribution there, just halting that England attack. Source. Ireland defending fairly narrowly here.
Let it go now, Green lost.
But England bunched up around this ruck. No danger of it being spread wide just now, as Brantingham carries hard up the middle.
Onside then.
And Van Fortley once again shaping to box kick. It is his preferred tactic, and he's generally pretty precise and accurate. And that ball has gone loose. It's gone forward off an Irish hand.
It's not come from Green. Scrum.
And frustration again. England putting the ball in the air a lot, and Ireland in the first 2 weeks we've seen have been fairly equal to it, but just making a few unforced errors in the air today, Mike.
Yeah, certainly a few errors that are there, but you know, both these teams, they've had the first 2 games, well, apart from England with that French game in that first half where it got away from them. You know, they've scored a lot of tries, they've scored a lot of points in the first 2 games, and you know, today 2 teams very evenly matched, coming up against each other. Defences have been really strong from both sides. As we said earlier, it's pretty hard to attack because both teams have that strong wall there.
sun beginning to sink down over the River Taff here in Cardiff, and it will be in the faces of these England players for the remainder of this half. As England just inch that scrum forward and then start moving forward a bit more rapidly. The arms up already from Adam Jones. Penalty coming England's way. Can they take advantage, though, of a potentially disorganised Ireland defence? Lancaster out to Smith. The ball doesn't go cleanly to Atkinson, but a little hitch kick from the fullback before he stumbles on the rubber crumb here. No advantage gained. And we will come back for that offence. And again, Finn Smith has shown a reluctance to kick for goal so far in this opening half. I imagine, given the way the close range lineouts have gone,
back 10 underneath,
and stick it in the corner again.
Yeah, more worrying signs for Ireland. You know, they're creaking a bit there in their maul defence, and then the Irish scrum's been really good for the first 35 minutes, and then certainly England getting on top there. And this arm wrestle is just starting to sway more and more England's way. Big defensive set coming up here before half-time for Ireland.
So Oisin McCormack we saw in the last England line-out drive. He just managed to swim through the middle of it and disrupt the ball. Let's see what happens this time. Once again, big Alex Groves is the target. Once again, England get this maul set. But it's defended well initially from Ireland. Sam Riley peels off now and runs into the heart of England, the Irish defence. That's decent quick ball from England, and Lancaster cuts back inside. Ireland desperately trying to get their hands over that ball, trying to affect the turnover, but England retain possession. Van Portfleet.
Onside.
Carriers lining up for England. Adam Jones just making sure Ireland remain onside, and that's a drop ball for England. Danger averted for now, but it is an offside infringement. It's Chris Cosgrave. Ireland were warned.
Green. Never
And it is penalty England. This one right in front of the sticks, Mike, with 3.5 minutes left on the clock. Do you take the 3, or do you try and take advantage of a one-man advantage?
Option.
Well, I think England are playing with a serious amount of confidence, so scrum it is. But initially, really good line-out defence from the maul there from Ireland. They drove them back, and then some big carries from that man Sam Riley. He reminds me a lot of Luke Cowan-Dickey. He's bouncing players when he carries, but certainly England in ascendancy here.
Yeah, seriously impressive player is Sam Riley.
That's good, he's on there, so you can.
He coached by Adam Jones at Harlequins. Harlequins, of course, the English Premiership champions after one of the finals, one of the best games of all time at the weekend, coming back to beat Exeter as they did the week before against Bristol. And Sam Riley, very much part of their plans going forward. He's already played first team rugby for Quins, and he is a shining beacon in this England under-20 side. So,
let's use it, we're not going in anywhere.
8 Irish forwards tied up in the scrum, so there is a one-man advantage behind, and England try and spread it wide on this right-hand side. At the moment, wrapped up by a phalanx of green jerseys. And the England forwards just queuing up to carry this ball. Kendall Beaton going round the blind side, trying to find some space. Another loud blast on this whistle. That's the Irish blindside. Donnacha Byrne
number 6 needs to roll
not rolling away, and the discipline, the ill discipline, is creeping in now. They already have one man in the bin. They cannot afford another. And England looking to really turn the screw now with 2 minutes to go until half-time.
Yeah, and they're certainly going for the juggler here.
Time back on then.
They'll look to maul it again, and it's easy to say up here, you've got to keep discipline, but when you're constantly defending and there's that pressure of big men constantly defending, it's hard, and your discipline does start to go.
Alex Groves the target again, but Ireland a decent counter shove on that as they try and shepherd it towards the touchline.
Track and trailer. Track and trailer, one.
Track and trailer called. So once again a reprieve for Ireland as England get it wrong technically. And Ireland under huge amounts of pressure here, but by hook or by crook they are preventing England crossing the whitewash. And with just over a minute left until half-time, they will consider this a small victory if they can keep England to 7-0.
Certainly a big plus for Ireland if they can go in with the score 7-0. You know, they didn't concede a try there. They're fighting, they're staying in there. You know, good body positions, low, driving forward. And England get done for truck and trailer.
So just over half a minute to go in this opening half. It's been an intriguing, cagey opening half of rugby. The two best sides in the championship so far.
Advantage, late tackle, number 10.
And there's an advantage coming for England. Late tackle from the Irish number 10, Corkery.
Onside. Still play the advantage, number 10. Late
Sam
tackle.
Riley again offering himself up as a carrier. Van Portfleet, Finn Smith. It's a decent line from Alex Groves. Nearly punches a dent through the middle.
Advantage
Just
over
about
out.
brought to ground. Advantage still being played here. Another little hitch kick from Atkinson. Proving to be a bit of an elusive runner there, coming from deep. Normally a fly half, of course, but proving adept tonight at fullback. And
Advantage
another
knock on.
error. And Kenderland has picked this ball up to take advantage of that knock-on from Groves.
Over. He's fine.
Henry Sheridan. So
Let it go.
Ireland, against the run of play, find themselves approaching England's 22 with the clock in the red in this first half. And what a turnaround it would be if Ireland were to go in having scored. Cathal Ford juggling the ball, retaining possession just about. Doak complaining to the referee there that there's an English hand on there, preventing quick release.
Second man, let it go.
And Brantingham told there to let it go. Sam Riley this time trying to get in there, trying to get over the ball. Corkery. A hint of a deliberate knock on there, but the ball goes out. The Irish win, but this English defence is so aggressive, so suffocating. And Ireland now going backwards. Oisin McCormick stopped dead in his tracks. Corkery. And there's the replacement, Postlethwaite, taking the more direct route. Doak to Lassisi. Big lump of a loose head forward. 18.5 stones of him. He's well marshalled by England on that occasion. That was Dan Lancaster
Release! No
disrupting
hands!
the ball, trying to get away. Could argue there that he delayed
Tackle!
the release of that ball. Approaching 2 minutes of injury time in this opening half now, and Nathan Doak looks up and says, enough's enough. That's 50 metres out. Let's dink that ball into touch and head for the sheds. Half-time score here in the third match of round through is Ireland 0, England 7.
never onside. It's repeated team infringement, yellow card. Number 11 green, never onside. 11 green, never onside. It's repeated team infringement, yellow card. Number 11.
Well, this game between the two championship contenders yet to really spark into life at Cardiff Arms Park. England holding all the cards at the moment, 7-0 to the good, and certainly in terms of discipline, they're on the better side of the referee. Ireland conceded 12 penalties in that first half. England just the 4. And after England conceded 20 plus last week against Scotland, that will please Alan Dickens, their head coach. Discipline key in an encounter between two sides, both going for championship glory. It's only round 3, of course, but this is first against second. The only 2 unbeaten sides left in the competition, so you would think whoever emerges victorious here this evening will be the favourites to go on and lift the trophy in a few weeks' time. So Ireland very much the ones with the work to do after that opening half, but they're still very much in this game. Just 7 points separating the two sides. That one there, Chris Cosgrave, just serving the last few minutes of his yellow card. Ireland falling foul of Adam Jones, the referee, and that man there, Shane Jennings, is back on. He's passed his HIA, so Jude Postlethwaite's cameo over for now. As Tim Corkery restarts the final 40 minutes of this triple header here. Round 3 of the Under-20s Six Nations Championship.
Use it!
All 15 games, of course, being played right here in Cardiff Arms Park.
Stay down.
And there's an injury here. Referee has blown his whistle, Oisin McCormick, and he's clearly seen something a little serious and wanted to bring play to an immediate halt. Sam Riley, the English hooker, also down. McCormick now on his back. The medic's tending to him.
Yeah, fingers crossed he's okay. He's been an absolute warrior for Ireland in that first half. We saw him turn over that driving maul from England. As we said, he likes to get his head in those dark places where a lot of other players don't like to go. And he'd be a big loss for Ireland.
Absolutely, almost single-handedly stopped England scoring a second try from a driving line-out, swimming through the middle and clamping his hands over that ball. Good responsible refereeing from Adam Jones. He immediately sensed there was something potentially dangerous in that melee there and called an immediate halt to play. That's a heartening sight. Oisin McCormick is sat upright, conversing with the medics. So hopefully this is just precautionary. It looks as though Reuben Crothers, the Ulsterman, member of the Ulster Academy, is stripped off and ready to go. Doesn't look as though Oisin McCormick is going to be in a position to carry on. Ripple of applause around the ground. Too many supporters in here this evening. Quite a few Irish flags in the opposite stand. And no doubt a few English as well, although they appear to be outnumbered by the green jerseys.
Just wait, lads, okay, we are.
A heartening sight. Oisin McCormick looking a little groggy, but walking unassisted off the pitch. And Reuben Crothers,
in the first half. They're the standards,
yellow scrum cap on, enters the fray. Straight into the action, packing down on the open side of this scrum.
Yeah, these guys coming off the bench, these Irish players have got to make a big impact. They've got to bring a serious amount of noise and energy and physicality and try and turn the tide a bit. As that first half went on, just felt like England was slowly suffocating Ireland. Ireland have been working incredibly hard.
So 2 new players in the Irish pack the second half. We've just seen Crothers come on in the back row, and Jack Boyle has come on at loose head prop as well, as England launch a counter-attack from their own 22, but it's dropped by Tom Litchfield, making his Under-20s first start to the campaign today. Obviously eager to make an impression And that pass just a little bit behind him.
Yeah, and you have to say, pretty good defence from Ireland, a man down. You know, they're covering a lot of space and they're just very clever. Slowly hold off and use the touchline as their friend and guide those England attacking players towards the touchline.
So another scrum on the near side of the field. Jack Boyle replacing Temi Lasisi, as we said, a Leinsterman for a Leinsterman. It's still an all-Leinster front row of the scrum.
Crouch.
And you got a Leinsterman in the second row as well, in Alex Soroka.
Set.
He had a bit
Steady,
of strapping
England.
on his ankle earlier in that first half, but seems to have come through unscathed thus far. Kendallen offloading to Doak. Strong run there from Castleford. Scored a try running that line against Wales in the last round.
Release.
And there's Donnacha Byrne.
No, I'm happy.
Again,
Happy.
as Mike said, nothing too imaginative about this Irish attack. Just pods of forwards coming around the corner, carrying hard into the England defence, but that England defence has been pretty unyielding. Not just this afternoon, but for most of the tournament so far. It's a penalty, though, to Ireland. England have spurned virtually every goal-kicking opportunity they had in that first half, but Ireland immediately point to the posts. Nathan Doak did have an opportunity with a penalty in the opening 2 minutes of this game. Missed that one, so an opportunity now just to narrow the gap to 4 points.
Yeah, needs to be a player. Yeah.
And we did have some issues with the earlier games with the ball toppling off its tee, so Doak has enlisted one of his colleagues just to keep that one steady. Bang in front of the posts, just about halfway between the 22 and the 10-metre lines. Straight through the middle, the flags go up, and Ireland strike first in this second half. 7-3.
Yeah, and a good strike from Nathan Doak as the wind certainly picked up a bit. And what a game he had last week, scoring arguably try of the tournament against Wales. Length of the field job. Also got player of the match for that game. But a good start for Ireland in this second half. They start the first half very well. They've just got to continue on now.
Yeah, hugely influential scrum half. Tall, rangy scrum half. And those of you familiar with Irish rugby will recognise that surname. He is the son of Neil Doak, also a scrum half. Played many, many times for Ulster. And one of several famous, or sons of famous fathers in this tournament. We saw Murray Redpath start for Scotland earlier on, son of Brian, of course. And in the midfield, about to receive the ball, Dan Lancaster, son of Stuart, as England head now with purpose into the Irish 22. Van Portfleet kicked a lot of ball in that first half. Perhaps we'll look to run, but that's a great turnover again from Ireland. England looking to pile on the pressure, but not releasing the ball in the tackle after some decent defence over the ball from Ireland. And captain Alex Kendallen just getting the appreciation of his teammates. Again, showing the referee the right picture there. Hands in the air before they clamp down on the ball. And we've had some pretty pedantic refereeing in some of the earlier games, and players not being allowed to place their hands on the floor, but that clearance kick got nowhere near touch and straight into the hands of Jack Bates, who caught that and returned it with some relish. Finn Smith, hint of a forward pass out to Brantingham for a decent fend, and Sam Riley maybe with a bit of a gap to run into there. Lovely pass on his left hand from the hooker into the arms of Arthur Relton, and now England are inches away from the Ireland line from nothing. And that's a big hard carry from the England tight end.
Let it go, Ireland!
Kendall beaten, brought to ground, but the momentum is all England's now. Sam Riley, very familiar with the try line so far in this tournament, the big Harlequins hooker. Van Portfleet has time to assess his options. Brantingham with a carry that time, but some good counter defence from the Irish. They're determined to hold firm. Now England go around the back. Relton nearly snared, but he's not. Passes out to his fellow wing Litchfield, and it's a try for England. Ewan Richards making his first start of the campaign. Powers over from close range after the space was created on the right-hand side. And just as Ireland had kicked themselves back into the game, Ireland extend their lead.
Yeah, Ireland will be absolutely furious with that. Alex Kinderlin, he did all the hard work, got that turnover, and that ball just has to go into touch. And then once England have the ball, some big carries there from Phil Branching. He's had a great game. Lovely hands out the back door from him as well. And England just build and build, win those collisions, win that go forward. Good continuity, and Ewan Richards gets over for the try. Lovely hard line, running back against the grain. Arthur Relton does really well to ride that tackle and get his hands free for Ewan Richards to finish in the corner.
It was a peach of a pass from Finn Smith, nearly getting Relton beyond that outside defender, but as you say, just managed to wriggle free of the tackle. And there was Ewan Richards, just goal hanging on the touchline, the big blind side. Finn Smith won't add the extras as the ball drifts wide of the left-hand upright. But that is quite the sucker punch for England, just as Nathan Doak had got Ireland back into this game. A lovely, fluid bit of attacking play from England. Both wingers involved on the right-hand side. Relton coming off his left wing to create the extra man. And England 12-3 to the good.
Or re-kick. Scrum called. Too eager.
Again for Ireland, just another unforced error. They're clearly offside there.
Basic stuff from the Irish. We saw how the Scots got so unsettled against Italy earlier. One mistake led to another, and before they knew it, they were staring down the barrel of an ugly defeat. Ireland certainly not in that territory yet, very much in this game, but you do not want to let those errors creep into their game.
Set.
This England side, as we've seen in this tournament, can be unforgiving.
Use it.
So another change in the Irish front row. You may have seen there, Mark Donnelly, the Munsterman, played a bit of sevens in his time. He's come on for Sam Illo. So Ronan Loughnane, the only member of the starting front row, still there.
I was going to ask you, Ross, when I saw Dan Lancaster there earlier, do you think he has two reviews, one from his England under-20 coaches and then another one from his dad, a Zoom call with his dad, Stuart Lancaster?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure that one with Father Stuart lasts a bit longer. A man known for his attention to detail. Part of the Leinster coaching ticket now, of course. He's already bagged the trophy with Leinster.
Stand up, please. Okay.
Very much the quiet man in that operation, though, Mike. Leo Cullen, very much the front man, and Lancaster, the silent man in the background.
Yeah, well, I played under Stuart for 1 year before I retired, and yeah, Stuart runs the attack and defence, and Leo looks after, you know, the kick-off send, the kick-off receive, picks the team, and looks after the forwards. So they've got a great coaching setup there, a lot of experience.
Bind. Set.
So let's have a look to see if these front row replacements make a difference to the Irish scrum. Not on that occasion. England powering forward with real intent and a real sense of menace. And look at the reaction, all the backs running in to pat their forwards on the back for a job well done. And that is worrying for Ireland. They've replaced both their props, and all of a sudden their scrum is in retreat.
Yeah, it's a similar picture to the first half, isn't it? A good start by Ireland, and then slowly England start putting the pressure on. You know, that we spoke about that arm wrestle in the first half. Just slowly England get on top and suffocating Ireland here.
Number 10. Number 10, green sub.
Getting on top of the scrum there in the first half. It was pretty even, the scrum. And a big defence coming up now. They've got to defend that maul again. I'm sure that was spoken about at half-time.
So it's the end of the afternoon for Tim Corkery. Ben Carson of Ulster has come on to replace him. Plays in the centre as well, does Carson. They'll have a bit of defending to do first up. As England once again looks strong with the ball in hand when the Ireland line in their sights. Sam Riley, another powerful carry from the hookup.
Advantage, Green knock on.
And that's advantage. And a first touch for Ben Carson as they launch a counter-attack here. And Jamie Osborne might get a chance to run at the England defence. Some big hits going again in the midfield. Some huge collisions between these two sets of players. And that's a high tackle there from Merrigan.
Let him go, let him go, let him go.
Penalty over, but penalty only. But Doak has set off an amazing counter-attack here and got over the halfway line into the England half. Now Soroka cuts back in on the angle.
Onside. Push.
And Ireland have completely switched things around here now. And there goes Jamie Osborne again. The elegant runner, Jamie Osborne, but a knock-on from Ireland just when they were appearing to put a few phases together. But it just goes to show that in a blink of an eye, defence can turn to attack in this competition. And Jamie Osborne, when he gets a little touch, he's a dangerous runner and can run those weaving lines and just find chinks in that England defence, which until now has looked pretty impenetrable.
No, just have a look, Dan, because if we don't need to, we'll keep going while the injury. But while we got time off. Yeah. Just have a quick look at it for me.
This is the high tackle, Nahum Merrigan.
Okay, play on.
Phil Brantingham, was it? No, it was Merrigan. And it was on Chris Cosgrave, who was dipping towards the ground, Mike. But
knock on from Green.
There's definitely a case there.
White.
It's shoulder to the head.
Yeah, I agree.
With force.
I agree. Lucky there. Definitely shoulder to the neck area. Initially, I thought it hit the shoulder and slid up, but it's a direct hit to the neck. So,
you're going to come this side, lads, okay? So we
certainly
nice
pretty lucky there.
So, Nahum Merrigan, scorer of England's opening try. He's got away with the one there.
But good play by Ireland there, showing how dangerous they are off the counter-attack. Turnover ball, they're dangerous. Good carry by Jamie Osborne, getting upfield and then...
sort this gap out now. We didn't have these problems for the first 50 minutes and now they're creeping in.
We've got the same front row, sir.
I've got the gap here.
Yeah,
we take it off that, okay? Let's go, please.
Yes, please. Yeah, my bad.
There's middle, okay? That's good. Let's go, please.
Let's go.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Okay, time off. Okay, the six to us now, okay. 16. Okay, as I just said now, okay, the scrums haven't been a problem for 50 minutes of the game. We're not going to let them start being a problem now. I give you the mark, we take the space off that, and next time I'll go to free kicks and penalties. Is that understood? Let's go then, please.
I was just trying to find out
Time back on. Let's get that balance nice and quickly. Yep, that's good. There we go.
So looking at that Irish backline, Cathal Ford, the inside centre, has shifted over to 12 to plug the gap left by Tim Corkery. So Ben Carson, the replacement, is lining up at centre, which is his natural position.
Set.
Shane Jennings remaining in the outside centre channel. Steady a scrum for the Irish there.
Forwards all hold.
But that's a neat little chip from Finn Smith, but well taken by Jamie Osborne. And that's a lovely left-footed kick from Osborne.
Carried back.
Turns it with a bit of interest. Carried back into the 22 by Finn Smith. So this one can't go directly to touch. And goes directly into the hands of Nathan Doak. And we did see that spectacular try from Doak last week. Started and finished by himself with that break in the midfield. And there's Shane Jennings. Bustling, powerful run from the young outside centre. Easy to spot with his shock of red hair.
Yeah, onside.
Ireland still playing in their own half here. They're reluctant to kick the ball away because they've had precious little possession, but nothing is going right for them here. And there's a fly hack through, and this could be another try for Ewan Richards. He scored one just moments ago, and he turns round with a look of almost disbelief to his teammates. He cannot believe how easily that opened up for him. A speculative kick forward. No one else seemed to chase with as much vigour as he did, and it bounced up beautifully for the blindside flanker. And England suddenly seem out of sight here.
Yeah, Six, Donica Byrne just couldn't keep hold of it. But England have brought a real physical edge to this game. Obviously hurting from 2019, 2020, where Ireland have had the upper hand. They come here with a real mentality to win collisions. A few poor passes, not going to hand. Great footwork from Ewan Richards, showing real pace to get there. Lovely pickup. Real athlete.
Yeah, real athlete. And normally a second row, actually, Ewan Richards. Plays for Bath, captain Bath's under-18 side, actually, but drafted into the back row today. And as you say, Mike, looks incredibly athletic. Very quick for a big man. Finn Smith, as we mentioned earlier, was turned down most of his penalty kicks at goal today. Attempts to add the extras. He's toppled off again. He's told he has to drop kick this one. He does so hurriedly, and it doesn't make it over the bar. So the lead remains 17 points to 3, but 24 minutes to go in this half, and Ireland still showing precious little in terms of invention or creativity. You have to say, Mike, this mountain they're attempting to climb is getting steeper and steeper.
Yeah, and that try came off some poor handling from Ireland, and you don't normally associate that with Ireland. Their skills are incredibly good, but I think it's just fatigue starting to set in. They've had to soak up so much pressure, do so much defending. It does start to sap you of energy in the second half as the game starts to go on. But this Irish side certainly won't give up. They'll keep fighting, and we know they can score tries out of absolutely anything.
So Ben Carson, he's a pretty solid presence in the midfield, and they're probably going to try and use him to punch some holes in this England defence. There will be a hope in Irish ranks that this England defence will tire at some point, because it's been so well organised and almost brutal in its precision. And the Irish do get the ball out into those tram lines where Ben Moxham is brought down before he reaches the halfway line. Ronan Loughnane. They'll wake up with some bumps and bruises tomorrow, these Irish lads, because they have been on the receiving end of some pretty big hits from the English back row. Really powerful and dynamic, aggressive in defence. Alex Kendallen's down, the Irish captain, and Adam Jones just calling time off so he can get treated. Again, like he did with Oisin McCormack, doesn't want the game going on, and there's a man down with a potential head injury. Oh, you saw there, he just caught his head right on the shoulder of Nahum Merrigan.
Yeah, they were lucky to get away with one earlier. I don't think they'll get away with this one. That's quite nasty.
Same man, isn't it? Okay. Oh yeah, from that angle it looks pretty damning.
Dan, looking at the actions on 8 green. By here, please, okay, where I am. Just
so Adam Jones is going to have a look at this, but that angle was pretty telling, Mike. Again, it was a shoulder to the head with force, and not much in the way of mitigation there.
Yeah, there's no mitigation there, is there? You can't say he's falling down. He's trying to ride the tackle and go through it.
That looks like a red to me.
Okay, I'm here.
We did see, of course, Lucas Brooke sent off for England against Scotland last week for a reckless tackle. He's received a 3-week ban for his troubles and won't feature again in this tournament.
Okay, Dan, so from what I'm seeing there, we've got foul play against 8 white. There's head contact.
Yeah, I agree.
For me, just play it again, sorry, and then I'll tell you what I'm seeing. Just that last angle again, please.
Yeah, it's coming up now,
okay,
bear with us.
Yeah, fine. Okay, so 8's carrying the ball. There's a tackle. He's low. There's a shoulder to the head from 8, but the mitigating factor is he is being tackled and he's already going to the lower. So for me, it's a yellow card against 8 white. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree, Adam.
Thank you. Okay.
So again, American doesn't feel the full force of the referee's authority. It's a yellow card, Mike.
And number 8, please. Number 8.
I thought he was lucky to get away with nothing the first time. Do you think he's lucky to get away with just yellow this time?
And captain as well.
I think he's incredibly lucky. I mean,
I'll explain it now, okay? We've all seen it. Yeah, I'm going to deal with this, okay? Okay, I've reviewed the footage, okay? It is a shoulder to the head. The mitigating factor is the player is being tackled and he is lower. It's a yellow card offence, okay, against you. Number 8, yellow card. Yeah.
No arguments whatsoever there from Madigan. I think he knew deep down it could have been a more serious sanction.
Captain, HIA. No. Yeah.
Scored the first
you
try.
Got the option then, because we got the head contact or we got the one for not rolling over there.
The 18th minute of this game. And he's now going to be sitting out the next 10.
And good to see Alex Kendall coming off. He didn't want to come off, but good to see the medics taking him off for HIA. Took a big impact there, but he just doesn't give up. He keeps going. Leads from the front. We spoke about it in the first half. He's had 10 carries already. 9 tackles. His work rate's phenomenal.
So can Ireland capitalise? They've got a one-man advantage for 10 minutes. And the penalty has taken them inside England 22. We've seen how effective the English driving maul can be. Let's see whether Ireland can conjure something similar. Up to Soroka, well taken by the Dubliner. And Ireland do get this maul moving. And England will have one less body in that pack to try and repel this. And there is Ronan Loughnane at the back of that one, and it is inching forward, and it's gathering pace as the line gets clearer in Ireland's line of vision, and they pile drive towards it. Now it's over, and the referee has signalled a try. It looks like it's the big man, Alex Soroka. He emerges with the ball, and Ireland immediately strike back. England have a man in the bin, Ireland have a try on the board.
That is an absolute thing of beauty if you're a forward. What a drive by Ireland, what a response to the yellow card for England, giving England a taste of their own medicine. It started and finished by Soroka, a great take in the line out at the top of his jump, a great throw. Everyone square, everyone fighting, low body positions, pumping the legs, backs joining in, getting that momentum, getting over the line, and he hasn't stopped working all day. Lovely finish from Alex Soroka.
Critical score at a critical time for Ireland. Can Doak add the extras and bring Ireland right back into this game? Yes, he can. So England, with a man in the bin, immediately concede 7 points, and it could prove costly. It's back to a one-score game.
He hasn't stopped all day, Soroka.
He is certainly one of the workhorses in this Irish pack. There's a fear early in that first half he might be going off when he was getting that ankle strap, but he is a warrior. And Ireland will be grateful that he's stuck around.
Right on the line, please.
Just illustrates the impact of, losing a man off the field.
First half, let's speed the huddle up, please.
Saw the first game, round 1, Ireland versus Scotland, and very close game in the first half. Scotland got a red card at the start of the second half, and the wheels completely fell off.
Funny how the complexion of the game seems to have changed. When England went 17-3 up, I think even the most optimistic Irish fans were thinking there wasn't much of a way back in this one. But all of a sudden, it's 17-10. Ireland have their tails up. Another England mistake. Jack Van Portfleet, normally so accurate with his kicking game, has kicked that one out on the full. So Ireland will come back for the line out, and the forwards are in the huddle discussing their next move.
Yeah, that's good.
As Ronan Loughlin waits to receive the call. It's passed on to him by Jack Boyle. It's a 6-man line out. Alex Soroka just casually strolls in. He was the intended target, but just managed to get a fingertip, and Sam Riley has scooped up the loose ball and charged into the Irish defence. Alex Groves, the big man, is taken back and dumped on his backside by Cathal Ford. That is a real psychological win for the Irish inside centre. That's a lovely kick from England over the head to the onrushing Irish defence and trickles into touch just yards from the Irish try line. This is turning into a real game of chess between these two sides. Two very tactically astute sides, full of talented, precise kickers, and Van Portfleet atoning for his early error by putting his team in a very decent position here. Ireland with a put in, but they'll be under pressure on their own throw.
Wait there, they've cancelled it. Okay. Time back on. 4 called.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an Achilles heel this for Ireland. You know, they do all the hard work to get themselves out of trouble. We saw it with Alex Kendall turning the ball over earlier. And then a poor decision leading to the try. Saw an overthrow there in the lineup.
Soroka scoops that one up, and Ireland bit harum-scarum running it from their own line. Jamie Osborne onto his left boot. And a big sigh of relief as he sends that one booming into the stands and beyond the 22.
Yeah, good clearance by Jamie Osborne. He's pretty cool, calm and collected, isn't he? He reminds me a lot of Rob Kearney. You know, he always seems to be in the right position at the right time and makes really good decisions.
He certainly does. So England, having conceded that try within moments of Merrigan being sent to the bin, now find themselves in Irish territory and in control of the ball. As the clock continues to tick on that yellow card, and they get this maul rolling again. Such a theme of this game, the English rolling maul. It's a real weapon for the senior side and this under-20 side, and now there's a gap out wide, and the ball goes along the line. Lovely goose step from Atkinson, and he hands off the challenge of Ben Moxham. He's brought to the ground eventually, but now the ball comes the other way. Sam Riley, a bullocking run from the hooker. Is that a knock-on at the base? I think it is. Yes, it is. It's been spotted. Or has it? Playing advantage to England. Perhaps it was a green hand there, disrupting the ball.
Time off a sec. We've got 2 advantages. We've got number 5, green, a leg lift over by the AR, or we've got an offside in midfield.
The referee was actually playing an earlier advantage, and this one was for an offside. So the knock-on at the base of the ruck counts for nothing. It's a penalty to England. And you'd think with a man in the bin and within range, they'd perhaps go for 3. But once again, Mike, Finn Smith spurning another easily kickable opportunity to try and set up this dangerous-looking rolling maul.
Substitution, okay.
Yeah, they really back their maul, don't they? And why wouldn't you? It's been so impressive throughout this game. Been really impressive in the first 2 rounds as well.
Okay.
A real weapon for them.
We've got a lot of confusion with the subs a second. Just wait, okay? Okay. Are we making that substitution, or is he staying back on for me now?
It looks as though Ronan Loughlin's coming off. No, he's not.
Just
he's coming back on.
A sec, okay? Lads, no leg lifting in the maul,
He thought he was coming off.
No leg lifting. That's what the advantage was for.
Evening's work is not yet done.
Okay.
So
time back on.
Owen de Butt there will have to wait a little while longer before he can make his entry onto the field. And Riley throws up to Alex Clark this time. And once again, even a man down, that rolling maul moves dangerously close to the Irish line. The referee's arm is in the air. It's a try so similar in structure and execution to the rest, but this time it is Sam Riley. 2 tries against France, another last week in a player of the match display against Scotland, and for the 3rd week running, the big hooker from Harlequins has got his name on the score sheet.
He's been impressive today, Sam Riley. He's been at the heart of everything. His ball carrying is so explosive, dynamic, bouncing players in the carry. And again, we've seen it in the first half a number of occasions. You know, they throw to the front, really strong setup. They're facing forward, they're square, they're fighting. Tariq Hafar there, pumping the legs, adding real impact off the bench. Nice low body positions. And that man, Sam Riley, he's been phenomenal getting over the line.
Such a dynamic, powerful hooker. And as we mentioned earlier, they trust him at Harlequins. He was on the bench for their European Champions Cup game against Clermont earlier this year. So he's familiar with a big occasion. And he's familiar with the try line as well. That's quite the strike rate for the hooker. And when he scored 2 in the opening game against France, he did so off the bench, which makes it even more remarkable. So Finn Smith with the conversion attempt.
It's very hard to change the way you defend a maul, you know, mid-game, because you practice a certain way during the week. But you know, I'd love to see Ireland trying to sack that jumper as his feet touch the ground. One man trying to rip into the floor and everyone else trying to smash it towards the touchline. But you can't fault Ireland there. They're low. Their body positions are pretty good. They're hitting it early. It's just that weight and physicality coming through from England.
It is irresistible once it gets moving. And Ireland now find themselves back up against it. They've still got a minute and a half before American returns to the field, but they're now 14 points down once again. There's Osborne. Toss-off rate cuts back inside, but that's another huge hit. And he's given knock-on to England. The ball was knocked on
backwards. It's a knock-on in the
as
tackle.
part of the tackle. Tom Roebuck can sail with a powerful hit.
Yeah, he's a big man, Tom Roebuck. He's just back from injury. Sale Sharks, plenty of first-team experience. And he's big and he's powerful.
He saw Doak there and he lined him up, wrapped his arms and knocked him back several yards. But the net result is that Ireland will get the put into the scrum. And that was Nathan Doak's last action for the game. He's replaced by Conor McKee, also of Ulster, a teammate of his. Conor McKee was in the squad last year. Didn't manage to get on the field because the tournament was cut short by the COVID pandemic. So he has been itching to get a bit of action in this campaign.
Set.
And his first task in this final game of round 3 is to deliver this ball to the feet of his hooker. Comes back, but England get the shove on. They're going to take this against the head, are they? Is the arm up? It is not a penalty, just a reset and scrum put into England. But when the ball was at the number 8's feet, you sense McKee should have got that away as quickly as possible. But when that shove came on, much like their rolling maul, Mike, it was just irresistible.
Yeah, it looked like there was parity there to start with. The longer it went on, that pressure, that weight from England just started to slowly come through. And you know, from a forward's point of view, they'll certainly would have hoped Conor McKee would have got that away. Doesn't manage to get it away, and possession back to England. And you can see what it means to England. The screaming, the shouting, the high-fiving. As we said, Ireland coming out on top in 2019 and 2020, and England certainly brought a real edge to this game tonight.
So you saw him there in the shot. Now American is back on the field after serving his 10 minutes in the bin. And it's an evening's work. Well done for Dan Lancaster, replaced in the midfield by Phil Cocker-Thinner.
Set!
One powerful runner for another. And that is another really powerful England scrum.
Yep.
And they launch an attack now from deep within their own half, but that pass from Charlie Atkinson hasn't found its intended target, but it's well tidied up by Relton.
No advantage, we're coming back.
And as has been the case with a few of these games in this tournament so far, as the clock ticks on, the mistakes creep in, and difficult to get any kind of fluidity when the whistle is blowing as often as it is. And perhaps a sign of A, fatigue, Mike, but B, the fact that a lot of these players until recently haven't played for 15, 16 months.
Yeah, it's a long time to play without a game, and there's no substitute for the real thing. Ireland came into this game off the back of playing Leinster A and Munster A. but obviously you're trying to give as many of your squad members game time to get that match fitness up, and you know, as the tournament goes on, you know, a lot of games in a short space of time, that fatigue does start to catch up with you.
You see Orlando Bailey just warming down beneath us. He's a versatile player who can play virtually across that back line, plays 10, 12, 15. We saw him at 15 against Scotland last week. He's come through Bath, where apparently Rhys Priestland has been something of a mentor to him. Another man who can play both 10 and 15.
Number 6 Green. Yeah.
But it might have been surprised to many that he didn't make the starting lineup this week, because he was hugely influential alongside his namesake Diago Bailey last week in England's win against Scotland.
This player here.
Richie Murphy there coming into shot. Head coach of Ireland, he's a fantastic guy. Played with him under him at Leinster. He worked with Joe Schmidt since 2013, both at Leinster and Ireland, and he's a fabulous coach, a great guy. And you know, it's going to take time. He's just come in. They've started the campaign really well, the first 2 games. You know, they're still in it here as well, but you know, it's going to take time to, you know, for the way they want to play to gel. It does take time. It doesn't happen overnight, and you know, they've got a really well balanced coaching philosophy here, mixing, you know, that brains and brawn. Colin Tucker there as well. Dennis Lima, we touched on him before. Great player in his time.
So it looks as though Sam Illo is going to return to the field after having been subbed off. Mark Donnelly painfully clutching his ribs there. So good job Sam Illo didn't take an early bath, because he's required for this final 10 minutes.
Sam Illo actually used to be a number 8 at school, so that's why he's pretty dynamic, but he's had to learn that scrummaging technique pretty quickly. Done a great job at it as well.
Yeah, you can see why he played 8. He's big, athletic man, 18 stone 7 from the Wesley College. And that line out is another scruffy one, but it's fallen into the hands of Cocknethinga. Hint of a forward pass there, but Adam Jones was on the spot. Didn't see anything wrong with it. Potentially another one there, and it's gone forward anyway. Orlando Bailey on the field now. So Ireland have turned this ball over. 10 minutes left here at Cardiff Arms Park for Ireland to mount some kind of comeback. They look to have got themselves back into it when Merrigan was in the bin. But another try, this time from Sam Riley, has put England 14 points ahead. So they'll need to do something quickly, the Irish.
Advantage, entry.
If they are to get back into this. Playing advantage at the moment. That's Osborne. Nice wide ball out.
No advantage, number 25, never fully back around. Number 25.
Alex Soroka, he's kept going, hasn't he? Some engine on him. You know, if he's not scoring maul tries or winning line-outs, there he is chasing little dinks and chips through. Great pickup, great pace by the big man. He's got through a serious amount of work tonight.
You've got such lustrous locks as his, makes you more conspicuous on the pitch, Mike, so people are going to be paying more attention to you, I guess. You've got to play well.
It's beautiful hair, isn't it?
It is. Like a
Rambo-esque.
Like a young Mike McCarthy. And Richie Murphy, as you say, part of that Leinster dynasty under Joe Schmidt. That team you play for won virtually every trophy going. And pretty much carried on where they left off from when Joe Schmidt left. Leo Cullen currently the man harvesting all the trophies in that Leinster cabinet, and they produced a lot of players for this under-20 side. The Leinster school system, a conveyor belt of talent.
Always backwards under pressure. The knock-ons in the line-out from White, so we'll come back.
So an English knock-on from the line-out, but again the Irish getting so little change out of this well-organised English defence. But they're certainly getting a bit more territory now. They're inside the England 22. There's 8 minutes left, so if they're going to get back into this game, they need to strike now and strike fast.
He touched on the school system there in Ireland, Ross, and you know, Chris Cosgrave, number 11 for Ireland, he came through St Michael's School. You know, that conveyor belt of talent. They're producing a golden era. James Ryan, Dan Levy, Ryan Baird more recently coming through from St Michael's. You know, and then you've got other guys coming through that youth club system. Roots, the likes of Sean O'Brien, Tyke Furlong and Shane Horgan.
Set.
Temi Lasisi came through that club system. So good to see both routes producing the quality of players.
Shane Jennings there, coming in on that hard line again, but well met by the England defence. Ireland struggled all night to find a hole, a chink, a dent in this English armour.
Advantage 24.
But they are still trying, chipping away, yard by yard, inch by inch. And this time it's Cathal Ford with those pumping legs. They must be more tired than they were in the opening minutes of this game, but he's shown some real graft and determination to get through the tackle there.
I can't play advantage because you're off your feet there, but we're coming back. Time off a second.
So could have been
Captain's
advantage
meeting.
Ireland, but supporting player tumbling off his feet.
Yeah, time's off, time's off. Take your time.
But Ireland will retain possession.
Penalties are mounting
Adam
now in this
Jones
area
just
of the
wants to
game.
talk
That's
to
number 24 offside, okay?
Portfleet.
While time's off, you need to have a word, otherwise you may leave with no other option, and I might need to yellow card someone. Good opportunity now, okay? Thank you.
So Adam Jones gives Jack
That's
Van
number 24,
Portfleet
but it's been a range of things as
a
well,
moment just to address his troops. And they find themselves in a similar position to what Ireland did earlier on, where they were warned and eventually punished for persistent infringements. Chris Cosgrave found himself the victim. 10 minutes in the bin.
Yeah, England's
green,
England's discipline was a work on coming into this game. Coaches spoke about it before the game.
With the AR, so just over by here, but time's off, okay?
But they started off the game very poorly, actually, discipline-wise. As the game went on, it's helped with them having set-piece parity, but their discipline's been very good, but starting to creep in again now, giving away a number of penalties.
Pardon?
Of course, there is
Just in line with the
a
AR.
losing bonus point to play for as well here. If
message
Ireland
across to
do
me.
manage to get a converted try,
Lads,
they'll
I'm
be
not
in
gonna let
losing
him go
bonus
quick,
point
so don't worry,
territory,
okay?
which could yet prove critical. They are currently top of the pile, or they were going into this game, where Ireland.
No, just in
England
line
will
with the
overtake
AR.
them with victory here tonight, but a losing bonus point could yet prove crucial in the final mix-up. So even if victory might be beyond them, and it's not yet, but if it proves to be beyond them, an extra try could be very helpful indeed.
Yeah, it's been a very impressive and physical display by England. Certainly not over yet, but not much time left. But Ireland, the endeavour's been there, the fight's been there, they haven't stopped working.
It's number 17, okay?
Very committed performance, but ultimately have come up against probably a bigger
HIA, is it? Okay.
side that's hurting from the last two occasions.
Yeah, when we come to the scrum, then we can deal with that then, okay? Are we okay to continue? Yeah, fine.
So it gives you some indication, Mike, of the physicality on display in this game. Multiple HIAs, multiple substitutions. There's going to be some very bruised, battered and tired bodies waking up tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Okay.
Certainly there's going to be some sore bodies in the morning. Yeah, we saw it from minute one. Big collisions, big impacts. No one giving an inch. The likes of Sam Riley, Jack Clement for England, been really physical today. And for Ireland, Oshie McCormack.
We're just waiting for a front row player to come back on, okay? That's why the delay is, okay? But we need to make sure everyone's suitably trained, otherwise it could lead to uncontested scrums. Okay?
So that's Owen de Butler there, who was summoned about 10 or 15 minutes or so ago, and then Ronan Loughlin was told, nope, you're not going off.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Now he's finally going on.
Offside 24.
Now it's interesting, it was Jack Boyle who went off, who's a loosehead prop.
Okay.
Owen de Butler has come on, who's a hooker by trade, which means scrums are going to have to be uncontested. We don't have a specialist in each position. So yeah, Loughlin is still on the pitch and is throwing in. We now have 2 hookers in this Irish front row. And it goes up to Soroka. Again, the target as he soars high in that line out, and the Irish get a bit of a shunt on here. England throwing bodies into that maul just to try and slow things down and stop Ireland splintering off. Now it comes. That's another good, powerful surge from Cathal Ford. Conor McKee. McKee again. Out to Jamie Osborne. Jamie Osborne goes himself. Just a tiny slither of space for Osborne. Couldn't quite get through, but Ireland still in possession with the England line at their mercy. Loud blast on the whistle. Try scored, says Adam Jones. Yet another try with a score. It's buried beneath a pile of bodies, but it looks like it is Owain de Butler. He's been on the field for less than a minute, and already he's made a telling contribution. Congratulations to the young man.
Yeah, big impact from that man, and all starts with Soroka again, winning the line out. Great play, he hasn't stopped all night, and then Ireland's pick and go game. We haven't really had a chance to see it tonight, but that's great work from Owain de Butler. 2 guys latching him either side, driving him over the line through the contact. Good low body positions, and Ireland certainly haven't stopped fighting.
So crucial kick this then for Cathal Ford, because if he lands this, it means Ireland will have at least a losing bonus point to take away from this game. Had you offered it to them when they were 17-3 down, they'd have probably taken it. Left-footed strike from Ford, and it was bending round a little bit, but not enough. So that kick has not been landed, which means the deficit stands at 9 points for Ireland, with just over 4 minutes left on the clock. There's the try scorer. Been working on his forecourt of his local petrol station as he chases his rugby dream. Another Connaught man, and as you can probably tell from his name, he's a fluent Irish speaker. Orlando Bailey, pristine white shirt for a man who's only been on the field for 5 minutes, and that ball's gone loose. It looked like it might have been knocked on, but Adam Jones on the spot, satisfied that it wasn't, and Cockney showing some real power, much like his brother Joe.
No, go back, go back.
2 or 3 men to drag him down eventually.
Stay.
Oh, and that's a lovely line from Hafar. Hafar looking up and seeing oceans of space in front of him. Eventually dragged down, but the big prop thought he was going to be gifted a try then. Irish scramble defence having to work really hard to bring the big man down. Now Van Portfleet's at the bottom of this ruck. He's trying to present the ball. And England now could finish with a flourish. Stringing a few useful phases together here. Hafar steps back, offers himself as a carrier again. He's closer to the line this time. Fancies a bit of glory. He's seen his front row colleague Sam Riley go over. He too wants a piece of the action. Van Portfleet. And that's a good bit of defence from the Irish. They're not giving an inch here in the final moments of this match. They want to keep their pride intact, and the ball tumbles forward from the big mitts of Jack Clement, and a reprieve for the Irish. 2 minutes left on the clock. They're deep in their own half. Alex Soroka knows if they put boot to ball here, they're gifting possession away, and that is fortunate there for Ireland. It's a high tackle. Jack Clement, the guilty party, and they will get a chance to clear their lines and then get the throw in at the line out.
Frustrations are high, okay? It's a tense game, okay? I've got the penalty for you. Don't make me need to reverse it, okay? Just calm down, okay? Thank you. Penalty is a high tackle on you, okay? High tackle. Penalty only.
What a line that was from Tariq Hafar. Absolutely incredible. Back against the grain. Looked like there was no space to go through, but somehow he managed to squeeze through a hole. Added real impact off the bench.
Certainly has, hasn't he? All action, Tariq Hafar.
Time off. Number 6 White.
Joined London Irish at the age of 14 and has come through their system.
Time's still off.
And there is the man of the match, Jack Clement. Shifted across the back row today from number 8 to open side flanker.
Okay, lads, we haven't had a problem
He's
with the
been
gap all
so
game.
influential
Let's
so
maintain
far
it.
in this campaign for England. Big,
4 quarters,
strong,
okay?
bruising ball carrier. Big engine on him. Industrious back row player. And in a game where it's been all about the big hits and the close quarter contact, he has been declared the deserved man of the match.
Off the foot, play on.
So a final flourish perhaps from the Irish. Ball kicked harmlessly in the end into the England 22, picked up by Orlando Bailey, whose first instinct is always to run.
Looks good. No, off feet.
And it's a penalty to Ireland, so they will have one last chance here.
Counter-ruck was good from White, and you've just flopped on it to kill the ball.
The game is beyond them now. They're 9 points behind,
Okay,
but they're doing the maths here.
points are called.
And it's
The tee is on, so we go for goal. Lads, the tee is on.
looks like there's been a
We're going for goal.
bit of a misunderstanding here. Alex Soroka.
Drop kicking it.
And they attempted the drop goal to try and get those quick 3 points and perhaps give them a chance, but the clock has now ticked them into the red. And the drop kick was wide.
No, you can't drop kick it straight out. It needs to bounce into touch first or be taken in by
So
someone.
we are Jack Van Portfleet just being told the drop kick now from England has to bounce in play. They can't kick directly out.
No,
So
we
it's
can't.
Not over yet, but 9 points down. The best Ireland can now hope for is to
Everyone behind them.
win a penalty, perhaps, and get that losing bonus point. But that is a big thump of a kick, and if they're going to do so, score more points, they're going to have to do so from deep. Sheridan out to Shane Jennings, who's had an industrious evening there in the midfield, always willing to carry, always looking to make those hard yards. But they're on the back foot now, Ireland. They're in possession for that English white wall, which has been virtually impenetrable all night. Is proving so again as we now tick into injury time. There's Osborne, probably been the one Irish attacker who has managed to find some space in what's been a very congested midfield. But how Ireland would like a moment of magic like the one from Nathan Doak last week, where he managed to carve open that Welsh defence. It hasn't happened for them this evening. England much better marshalled, much more precise,
Fine, play on off the
much
foot.
better organised. And that's penalty to England, and that will be the last act. You can see the look of utter despair on the face of Alex Soroka.
Let's not spoil
Fist
it.
bumps all
Let's not
round
spoil
in the
it.
England coaching box. And a little bit of tempers boiling over at the end there, but Adam Jones, oh no, it is kicking back off here between Ireland and England.
Let it go. Relax.
Adam
Relax.
Jones doing his
Let
very
it go.
best to calm things down,
Let
but
it
this
go.
is
Oi,
an
you
unpleasant end to what's been a compelling encounter at Cardiff Arms Park.
Two. You two.
No punches thrown, just a bit of pushing and shoving,
Take
but
your own players.
they might want to have a quick look at this just in case.
Stick to the captain, the penalty. Have you got anything? He did he? Okay. So you want me to reverse the penalty? Is the best option, then you're saying?
So Daniel Okeke, 25 green,
For England, yeah.
has been accused
Yeah,
of
yeah.
starting the rumpus.
Come here. Captains as well.
So when we thought it was all over, there will be
Okay. Captain
one
and 25
last
as
ticking
well.
off to be delivered
Captain,
to both captains.
25. Yeah, okay. We'd have had a good game of rugby for 80 minutes, and that's just spoilt it with the actions of the players, all 30 of them, okay? The penalty is here for England for calling on the floor. You've then escalated the sanction, so you're going to go for 10 minutes, okay? Which is a yellow card, and the penalty will be moved on Okay, so yellow card to you, and the penalty has moved on 10 metres as well. Back 10.
Well, what an interesting end to this game. Daniel Okeke, with a clock already on 83 minutes, has been sent to the sin bin for 10 minutes.
And then kick it out.
And England get an extra 10 yards for the penalty. But all they want to do is belt that one up into the stand here at Cardiff Arms Park. And you can see from the delight on their faces that is a big, big victory for England. They came here undefeated. They will leave undefeated. Ireland also came undefeated, but that record has gone. 10 wins in a row they had in this competition. A remarkable record for this young Irish side. But they have brought that winning run to an end, have England, and they march on now. You would have to say, Mike, favourites for this tournament.
Yeah, what a performance by England. They really turned up today with a nasty edge, a real physicality, real collision winners in everything they did, whether it was the maul, the scrum, their ball carries, their defence. They just really brought it today, and you know, unfortunately from Ireland's point of view, they couldn't live with it. They fought to the end, they fought incredibly hard, they never gave up, they kept fighting, and were unlucky not to come away with a losing bonus point there in the end. But England's certainly looking very strong as they march on for the remainder of this tournament.
24-15 the final score here. A bonus point win for England. Ireland leave with nothing at all. So we see those Ireland players looking dejected as they troop off the field. England players, of course, delighted, as you'd expect. 4 tries, all of them from the forwards, and it was a very forward-oriented display from England. A lot of close quarter stuff, and just proving to be that bit more powerful, that bit more precise in the red zone than their Irish counterparts. Nahum Merrigan opened the scoring on 18 minutes. Then we had a double from Ewan Richards playing on the blind side today. And of course, Sam Riley. You can't have an England victory in this campaign without Sam Riley getting on the score sheet. He has been absolutely prolific in this tournament. Starring cameo off the bench against France. Started last week against Scotland. Started this week against Ireland. Bustling, powerful presence in the middle of that English front row. And a bit of a conference from Ireland, and now England form the tunnel to clap their opponents off the field. And despite that little scuffle at the end, a lot of mutual respect between these two sides. It was a very closely fought encounter. England appeared to run away with it at one point, but Ireland never gave up. They never allowed their heads to drop. And they contributed manfully to the cause. They'll come back stronger next week, you can guarantee that. But for now, this is England's night. Victories today for Italy, for France, and for England in the third of this triple header. So the man of the match, as we know, is Jack Clement, playing in the slightly unfamiliar position of 7 today, as opposed to his usual 8. And we can hear from the man of the moment, Jack Clement, downstairs with Laura.
Huge congratulations on the victory. I'll let you do the honours first of all and present your teammate with tonight's player of the match. That match certainly lived up to his expectations. Was it the toughest test yet for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ireland are a quality outfit. They tested us in a lot of areas, and physically I think we fronted up massively, and we spoke about that all week. And fair play to Ireland, they took us to the line, and yeah, but I'm really happy that we got on the right side of it, so yeah.
There was a point when you were 17-3 up at the 60-minute mark. You thought perhaps you'd run away with it. They came back a couple of times. How pleased are you with the way you managed that period and that you didn't allow any comeback in the end?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we spoke about half-time. We knew they were going to have a purple patch, but we said that we just need to stick together and we just need to ride the wave. And I think at the end, the character of the boys there shone through, and we showed how tight a group we are and how much we want to win this tournament.
The emotions boiled over on both sides at the end. Is that just a sign of how much this match means to both sets of players?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, when you're playing for your country, there's no better feeling. So obviously, like, the demands and how proud we all are as a team, and I'm sure they are as well, it's massive. So, but honestly, so pleased to get over the line at the end. I'm so proud of the boys. It was a massive shift.
And the only team with 100% victory success rate in this tournament. How does that sound?
Yeah, it's great. But you know, we've got two more big tests. Wales and Italy, and there's no point underestimating their quality, because they are good teams and they'll challenge us in different areas. So for us it's very much next challenge, next job mentality, and we'll go again whenever the next game is. So looking forward to it.
Congratulations on your performance too.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for your time.
Let's just wait. Clem's coming now.
Hi. Disappointing result in the end, but is this the game you can take the most out of as a group of players?
Yeah, look, we're absolutely devastated inside. I thought the boys fronted up, but look, we'll lick our wounds and we come back for Italy. That's all I can say.
Do you feel there's a comeback on the cards at the 60-minute mark then again, a few minutes from the final whistle?
Yeah, I think maybe give us 10 more minutes and it could be a different result, but look, all credit to England. They came out of the blocks very fast, and look, it's deserving winners, and look, we'll lick our wounds, as I said, and we'll come back again.
Emotions boiled over there at the end. Is that just a sign of how frustrated you are, how disappointed you are, and ultimately how much this match means to you guys?
Exactly. We've poured everything into this. It's so much for us. To Liam, Scully, and Richie, they've poured their heart and soul into this, and it's devastating not to give them something back. But look, as I said, we'll lick our wounds and we come back again.
You're still very much in this tournament, though. Just the one loss doesn't make you all the more determined to rectify this again less than a week, 6 days now until your next match.
Exactly, that's the benefit of this tournament. You got that chance to come back. And hopefully put a loss to a win. So yeah, look, we're really looking forward to that. And
thanks for your time.
Thanks a million. Cheers.
Richie, disappointing result, but you still got a smile on your face walking over here. Is that just a sign of how pleased you are with the character, the belief this team showed in the final 10?
Yeah, definitely. Our lads have been fantastic. We've stuck to the task. We weren't accurate enough today, and we gave them too many easy ins with very high penalty counts. Some of those we have to go back and have a look at and make an assessment on how we're sort of judging the offside line. So we need to tidy up that, and we'll do that by next week.
You held them out time after time in that first half. I suppose it's just a sign that there's only so much you can do that for in the second half. It's bound to take its toll.
Yeah, England are a massively big forward pack, and that weight pays dividends after a while. But again, our lads stuck to the task really well, and we're disappointed, and we'll go away. We definitely feel that there's areas of the game that we probably let get away from ourselves, and we need to take ownership of that, and we'll have a look at them and try and get it ready for the Italians in 6 days' time.
Will you be forced into any changes, given you've been quite unlucky on the injury front tonight?
Yeah, we've picked up a few knocks, and we'll just have to assess them as it goes. But our idea would have been to change up the team next week anyway. So we'll make those assessments as we see fit over the next sort of 24 hours.
Good luck for that one. Thank you.
Hold there.
Yeah, ball's down for us. Just relax, just relax. The try's good. No, relax, that time.
Hold there.